These guys feel like they can get away with anything. You know, they're not playing by the same rules as the rest of the world. They're stars.
Charlie, take one. Hey, camera, Mark. Got it. Okay. And action.
It's about a young journalist who is investigating the history of a 50s musical comedy act.
They're looking for some provocative stories for the first issue.
Any thoughts on what these provocative stories might be about?
The breakup, why Lanny and you split. And the girl, Maureen. What happened to Maureen O'Flaherty?
There's been a girl who was found dead in their hotel room, and they were never implicated in the murder.
She's a young aspiring journalist who's just finishing college, and to pay for school she's working in this hotel where these amazing celebrities, Vince and Lanny, are staying. Can I have your autograph, Mr. Morris?
Sure. Should I make it out to Maureen?
She meets them and gets the opportunity to have the interview of her life.
20 years have passed, and now it's the 70s, and the act is split up, and this young journalist is trying to find out the truth.
No one had ever been able to pin Lanny Morris or Vince Collins to the girl's death. All that was clear was that Maureen was found dead in their hotel suite. It was unthinkable to me that Lanny and Vince could have had anything to do with it.
So as the story unfolds, it's her like investigating and researching and trying to get as much as she can to find out what really happened.
In some ways, he had never stopped being a hero to me. That's why it was impossible to think he might also be a killer.
I play a character called Lanny Morris, who is one half of a comedy act from the 50s.
May I say that I think you have the most beautiful eyes I have ever seen.
He is definitely a larger-than-life character, someone that has a very strong, powerful kind of effect on people, someone that, you have grown up with, kind of an entertainment, cultural icon.
Hello, lovely people, for the next 3 days.
Look at you, you're a disgrace.
What?
Look, your hair's a mess, your shoes aren't shined, your shirt's not pressed.
Kevin's character is very much making use of the stereotype of the American in the direction of rock and roll. And I'm the more austere Brit with the dry wit.
I think you better pray.
And the sense of protocol.
Bastard! He called me a bastard!
No, it doesn't show from the front, Lanny. Don't worry. No, please, would you kindly not mount me? It's very disagreeable.
Under the mask, this guy is vulnerable, he's venal, he's violent, he has all kinds of weaknesses of the flesh, and these are the things that the film explores.
I was the tramp, ready for any sort of action. And Vince was the gentleman, always trying to make me behave myself. I was pleasure, and he was control. I was rock and roll, and he was class. His presence gave America permission to like me.
Cut. Thank you. Excellent. That was great.
You feel as though you have access to something that is otherwise very private. And in a way that informs the whole story. At what point do people have access to other people's stories?
You cannot speak that way to a perfect stranger.
Look, her husband's not offended.
He's not?
No, of course her husband's not offended. Her husband's not here. This lucky guy is her boyfriend. And even he's not offended. And do you know why?
Well, I can certainly hazard a guess.
What the hell is hazard a guess? For Christ's sake, Vince, this is America. We don't say hazard a guess. We say yes or we say no.
And it's also a story, I guess, about partnership. You know, the relationship between Lanny Morris and Vince Collins. It's a marriage.
I thought I simply had to get through the awkwardness of the flight itself. But the trouble is...
You slept with him.
Vince...
You slept with my ex-partner.
It has all the affection and all the complexity of any sort of marriage. And, you know, to see the tensions between these two men, and especially now working with Kevin and Colin, you know, they've been able to really bring this duo to life. And that was a huge achievement, I think, that you believe that this was a real act.
I happen to be honored to work with this jerk.
Is that a compliment?
Clown.
Never.
I get a kick from this friend of mine.
What we were really going for was the adrenaline factor. Was what it feels like to be performing. What it feels like to be performing with the drugs and the alcohol and the high stakes and the kind of things that are on offer.
Everyone used bennies. Vince added them to his morning coffee like sugar. Not that you could tell.
I found that Kevin and I had a rapport which came very easily. He's a musician. I'm English. And we tried to play as best we could to our strengths.
The thought of having live-in help is a little poisonous to me.
Why is that?
Well, I'd have to talk to them. Ask them how their family was doing. Hear about this and that. Introduce them to the guests and tell them how their family was doing. Also that I would seem to be a nice guy. Which was an awful lot of work, considering what I cherish most in life these days was not to have to be Vince Collins.
We're making a film that depends entirely on performances, on acting. There are no pyrotechnics in this film. There are no shootouts, no car chases. The only way to engage the audience and to create suspense and to create tension in this film is through performances.
The real me was brought up as a nice middle-class kid, which is not the easiest thing in the world when you are extremely poor and living in a slum.
Who are these people? Who are Lanny and Vince? You know, they've existed as popular icons, and they want to preserve that.
The story of this girl is the most painful thing in his life.
What happened to her, Lanny?
Well, you're not going to find out. Not now.
She's fascinated by these two men, just so personally involved. They've been heroes to her since she was 12, and they were really instrumental in giving her hope, you know, when she had polio.
You're a very special girl.
Karen wants to clear their names because she adores them so much. She wants to kind of like clear she wants to clear any mystery around them. But in so doing, she opens up this Pandora's box, and she has to completely reassess who these people are.
You've dreaded talking about Marino Flaherty since we met. If it's something you're so desperate to avoid, why would you ever agree to do this book?
I need the money.
There was an understanding in the 50s that some things were going to be kept secret, that you could actually sweep things under the rug, and that you could, if you had the right kind of, control over the press, that, certain elements of your character would be, of your personal life could be kept private.
What do you want from me?
You're going to continue writing the book. I'm going to continue telling you juicy stories, funny stories, heart-tugging stories. And you're not going to ask me a single question about what happened to the girl in New Jersey.
We're talking about a time, too, when not everything that a celebrity did was held under such a microscope. I mean, there were no celebrity trials, and you didn't have this plethora of kind of entertainment shows examining every detail of a celebrity's life. So there was this sense of the fact that certain things could be forgotten. But this one event in Vince and Lanny's life will never be forgotten.
You're Lanny Morris. I know that everyone dreams about being famous. But it would be really interesting to know what it's like to relinquish all anonymity.
Gets me a date.
Does that bother you? That people only want to be with you because of who you are?
As opposed to?
Well, the real you.
It deals with celebrity in that it shows you a picture of its benefits, and then it shows you what happens if you try to take advantage too much of those benefits.
It's easy to get away with a lot if you're rich and famous.
What makes these people real and human?
It's a story about how we have access to histories and how we have to make judgments about what stories we want to tell.
It's about the process of getting right down to the kernel where the truth lies.